you are finally able to go into the state capitol. The capitol was basically closed to the public because of COVID, except for when there was special events going on, they would let the public in through specific doors. But now you can go into the capitol. But for the last year and a half, the capitol was locked where the public couldn't generally get in, and yet if you were inside the capitol you didn't have to wear a mask, so they used COVID as an excuse to kick out the public, and they didn't care about masks or safety protocols like that. Right here is where the statue of Hans Christian Heg stood for decades. Hans Christian Heg was an immigrant who came to the United States, died fighting against the Confederacy, gave his life to end slavery, and the protesters beheaded the statue and threw the statue into the lake. The culprit who took the head of the statue was found, but got very little press coverage. And the statue is still not back up here, and the box that covering where the statue used to be gets graffiti again and again. Right here is where the Lady Forward statue was. This was a symbol of women's suffrage. It has been now torn down, and it says Free Palestine. It looks like Palestine's spelled incorrectly. Fire Matt Kenny, a pink triangle, a big heart with a peace sign in the middle of it. This is where Lady Forward sat for many, many decades. A symbol of women's suffrage, ripped down by protesters, has not been put back up. It is Saturday, the farmers market is going on, but it's also a special Saturday. The Maxwell Street Days is going on as we speak on the 100 block of State Street. Over a year passed since the death of George Floyd, and we still have, from what I can tell, businesses everywhere gone, and graffiti. Graffiti, 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 or graffiti. Sponsored by the taxpayers of Madison. The shoe store is out of business. Literally one entire side of the street here at the top of State Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots completely vacant. All of these spots did have occupants a year and a half ago. 200 block of State Street. A lot of places are closed or shut down. Looks like the Icon is out of business. I don't know why the ice cream candy place would be closed on a Saturday. Cask Ale. Not sure if those ones are just closed or out of business. Here's one that's completely out of business. This was a trinket, whatever you want to call it, knicky-knack artsy store. That's gone. Espresso Royale cafe that had been there for many years, gone. 300 block of State Street, and you can hear music and whatnot. It's Maxwell Days. Karen and Company did not last through the riots. What a surprise. It was a high-end women's clothing store. That's gone. This one probably makes me the most upset. This had been Pizza di Roma, an immigrant-owned pizza place that had employed people from all over the world. This was a great establishment. This is the kind of place you would go out drinking, and then you'd go get pizza at Pizza di Roma. And now Pizza di Roma is gone. The Irish pub here has survived, but this is actually a spot where protesters took it over last summer and just set up protesting this establishment. Turns out they were actually meaning to protest a different establishment. They didn't even know where they were protesting or why. Another business gone. Over here behind me is Ragstock, probably the most famous of the places that got rioted. People were smashing the windows and literally running out of Ragstock with piles of used clothing. The 400 block, we can see Hopcat is gone. Hopcat was a gigantic brewery, destroyed. as so many of these things were. Over here is where that police car that was lit on fire, which actually someone got in it while it was on fire and rode it somehow. Warby Parker here is another establishment that we had people just basically hitting with a hammer, smashing. I mean, already you can see that there's 20 to 30% of the businesses that were killed off by the riots. Empty storefronts. Here we can see like an entire complex of various storefronts, all gone, all out of business. Here on the other side we can see more storefronts. This is the 500 block of State Street. We've got one establishment out of business, two establishments out of business, three establishments out of business. Normally there would be thousands of people here for the Maxwell Street days. This is dead. This is nothing. There's you know, maybe 1,000 people from one end of State Street to the other. Every single year, Urban Outfitters has been out here every single year for Maxwell Street days. But this year, they're not set up for Maxwell Street days. You got this bar here. This bar is always packed. Not anymore. Oh, more graffiti. More boarded up items. Apparently they're putting in a Target right here. This is the 600 block of State Street. Storefront, out of business. Storefront, out of business. Storefront, out of business. Out of business. I'm looking at easily 7 or 8 different establishments completely out of business. And then, you know, behind me you're going to see a lot of for lease signs. One business gone. Another business gone. Another cafe out of business. Another storefront gone. Another storefront gone. And who's moving into these spots is large corporations like Target. So these rioters really did the bidding of those who seek to gentrify Madison, Wisconsin.
I wasn't here when it happened,
Yeah.
but I've certainly come to eat at the restaurants and things, and I think it's very sad to think that they think they really did something by wrecking stuff.
People living off the street here, and but you know, they destroy all the locally owned businesses, and then what do you get? They replace them with large corporations like Target and Raising Cane's Chicken.
I just think people are just pathetic, because look what they left. They left a mess.
Lack of jobs now.
Everything. People, yeah, it's just, where was the common sense to what was done?
There's spots on State Street where half the street, every single business is gone.
No, I think it's pathetic. And I'm glad to see people coming back now and trying to give a few people a job again. Maybe people get off welfare and do something for a living.
But on the plus side, it brought things to people's attention that it sort of wasn't on their radar.
One gentleman has a shirt that says "Science is not a liberal conspiracy." Sounds like all in all he doesn't see the effect that the riots have had here on State Street. Do you have any opinion on the State Street riots?
The State Street riots?
Riots last year when the...
Right.
Do you have any? Would you be willing to share your thoughts on what happened?
No. I don't know if I would call them riots, but I know what you're talking about.
You mean, they blew up a cop car right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of a riot.
Yeah.
When you blow up a cop car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's a few people that were doing real bad stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there was also some good stuff that was going on. Maybe not that,
Okay.
but I believe Black Lives Matter is a good movement.
Okay.
I think there's,
Yeah.
well, I was just going, I thought there were two different groups of people.
Exactly. That's
And I
true.
think that's, the ones that came out late at night were
Right.
really,
Right. There was yeah.
were just wanted to loot and
Yeah.
cause destruction.
All
I
right.
don't think they were related with Black Lives Matter really. That's, but I guess I still don't like the destruction going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the mayor or the police should have, maybe not, or the mayor's office, I think they should have tried to control it more.
Yeah.
The damage. I thought they always kind of let it go.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was right. I don't think.
Well, is merchandise, is that stuff more important than lives?
Well,
No, I know that.
it's
I
people's
know
livelihoods
that.
and stuff. That's
Right.
people just they
right,
weren't-
right. But I don't know. It's a real fine line.
But I thought the mayor, they could have stopped, tried to stop more than what happened. They almost just let it go. And
So it seems that either you're conservative and you support the police and you're against the riots, or you're liberal and just completely ignore what happened to all of these establishments. Do you have any opinions on the riots of last summer?
The riot? No comment. No, it's too crazy.
Just had a man I interviewed. I thought my camera was rolling. It wasn't rolling. He was a Vietnam vet. He said he got out, he protested the war, but he didn't destroy things like this. He just didn't understand the destruction. He understands the reason, the cause, but he didn't support the destruction. Opinion on the riots that happened here? Not your opinion. Why would you assume that? Jackass. Ask this guy. Ask this guy right here if he has any opinion. He goes, "Not your opinion." Like, how do you know what my opinion is?